So I've had a chance to sleep on all the stuff that's been going on. Elon Musk released the beginning of thousands and thousands of documents proving that there was direct government to private entity censorship requests made. That both political parties had access to this power. One party really used it a lot, and one party used it a handful of times. Both of them need to go, to be quite honest. The Republican Party hates its voter base, but they want the power. But they suck at their job. The Democratic Party also hates their voter base and only want power, but they are really good at taking power and not relinquishing power, and as such, abusing power. So, got me thinking, digging through the old idea bin. Got a couple things. Number one, we take them all, and we're talking bureaucrats, we're talking elected officials, we're talking everyone who is a donor to either party, anyone who is a registered voter in either party. Here are the options. Option number one, the immolation route. We get a Olympic-sized swimming pool, deep. We need to 8 to 10 feet. These people cannot climb out of this pool. The pool is filled with about a foot deep of gasoline. There are fire extinguishers hanging around the sides filled with things like butane or oxyacetylene. And then you throw a match into the gas and hope that it lights. And once the gas does light, while these people are standing knee deep in it, scrambling around, splashing, getting covered, being immolated alive, and any poor fool that decides, oh, look, there's a fire extinguisher, maybe I can do something, is just going to make it explode. They need to be panicked. They need to be unable to escape. They need to be in great fear and great pain as they perish. Option number two, the drowning route. What we need to do is get again, this would have to be bigger than an Olympic-sized pool. This would have to be something around 30 feet deep. It would have to be big enough to hold them all. It would have to be completely full to the top. This giant drowning vat with urine. And that urine has to be let to sit for weeks. It's got to be the funkiest of the funky. You know how, like, if you pee a bunch of times before you go to bed, you don't think to flush, you pee overnight, you wake up in the morning, and it's just ripe and ready to go in the bathroom, right? I want that to be not quite ready yet. After you've got this enormous vat of weeks old stale urine, you need to refrigerate this down to 35 to 38 degrees. Pardon me a moment. Sorry about the delay there. My coffee was ready. Where was I? 30-foot deep vat of weeks old urine that has been refrigerated to temperatures cold enough that anyone attempting to swim in it would suffer muscle cramps and subsequently drown. Remember they tell you, don't jump into cold water that's too deep and too cold. You could sink to the bottom because you can't swim because your muscles freeze up. This would be acceptable. Talking Chuck Schumer, Lindsey Graham, we'll throw Donald Trump in there. All the politicians, all the elected officials, all the deep state bureaucrats, the bitches at the DMV that take their sweet time on their lunch and then want you to hurry up and fill the form out, and then you're going to wait for 6 hours on your number to get rolled. All of them have to go, you see. Okay, let's see. Option number 3. Oh yeah, because you have to think about it with the drowning death. That's pretty horrible. Drowning while you're hypothermiaing or whatever, that's pretty nasty. And when the water that you are inhaling is actually weeks old stale urine, it's even worse because you're actually probably going to compulsively exhale instead, which will cause you to sink. Option number 3, the sarcophagus. This one I've had for a bit. This one I am a huge advocate of. The problem is the resources. You're going to need to construct a large steel sarcophagus that is something like 100 foot on a side. Like we're talking Noah's Ark big steel sarcophagus. Inside the steel sarcophagus will be piled the nude hog-tied, still living people I mentioned before. You get Pelosi in there. We'll get Schumer. We'll get freaking molasses ejaculation McConnell. We'll get freaking Katie Hobbs. Who else? Raphael Warnock. We'll get them all. Well, you know what? We'll throw Herschel Walker in there too. We might even throw Carrie Lake in there too. We'll throw everybody, even attempting to be in government. If you think you have the right to control people, step right this way. And so we strip them down. We hog tie them. Now hog tie, mind you, is I guess maybe I'm thinking the wrong one. I guess hog tie is in front with your feet and your hands, right? Well, that's fine. Because then you can pick everybody up by their feet and their hands and boom. And eventually the box fills up with the writhing bodies, some of which on the bottom are probably dead already and beginning to defecate naturally and bleeding out into the what's going to become the T in the bottom of the sarcophagus. And then we seal the sarcophagus shut. We weld it shut. And then tip that and roll it down a giant hill or drop it into some kind of a deep pit and bury it. Another alternative would be at the place that it's located, before moving it, an enormous fire gets set underneath of it and we get to pressure cook everybody inside of it. Option 4, the rapture. We could either do this from Earth or we could do this from space. But what we do is we make sure that these people launch into space. Now, there's 2 ways we could look at that. We could send them on the Voyager 2 route out of the solar system, one at a time. Like the meteor showers that we get here on Earth, right? Like the Orionids, the Leonids, the Taurids. These are all broken up little bits of comets, right? Now, here's the thing. Let's say this is the orbit of the comet. Let's say this is the sun, right? Or the inner solar system. And you see how these they go out like this, right? And they go, near, near. Well, what happens is sometimes when they pass in a little too close here, they actually break up. But they don't all just like, oh, okay, and fall, right? No. What happens is they keep orbiting the same orbit, but it's just like fairy dust and gravel, and it's following that same orbit, right? Wouldn't that be cool to have a literally human-made, as in made of humans, meteor shower? The frozen, desiccated corpses of all of these people, these deep state bureaucrats, these elected officials, as the salty cracker would say, the people who seem to have a real fetish for killing and eating children. Let's launch them into space. Unprotected. The other option would be, rather than create an artificial meteor shower of all the corpses of evil orbiting, waiting to re-enter the atmosphere and disintegrate, and people to wish on a shooting star without realizing that that's like, Nancy Pelosi's frozen corpse burning up, would be that we just bring them up to orbital level or suborbital and push them out and let them skydive without a parachute. That takes us to option number 5. Skydiving without a parachute. Let's see, option number 6. Oh, yes. We have a couple of things here for 6 and 7. Option number 6. A 1-ankle trebuchet. High-powered. Right? And there's a person hanging by their ankle. And then, flung like a rock. Doesn't matter where they land, don't pick them up. Unless the pile of politicians, bureaucrats, and evil assholes, child murderers, gets so big that it's cushioning the landing, then maybe change your direction where you're firing. Okay, so then the last one would be something similar. Kind of like a trampoline, or like, they do the thing where everybody's holding the ring with the trampoline mat, but it's not really a bouncy trampoline, and then whoof, and they lift it and somebody's on it and they go up in the air, right? So we have something to help fling the people up in the air. Where they land, though, we're gonna have to figure out: do we have to have this trampoline move real quick, and there's like a big spiked pit underneath of it? Wherever it is that these people are flung or dropped from, where they're landing needs to be full of punji spikes. We're talking literal shit-covered, poisoned bamboo spikes. And wherever they land is where they stay. Doesn't matter if they survive. Doesn't matter what they say or beg. Ah, help me. Fuck you. Do we have an idea number 8? Oh, the garbage smasher. We could just crush them all. Do I need to continue, or have I made my point? Think. Contemplate. Come up with your own ideas and share them with others. Like, share, subscribe as well. Make sure that you tell people that the people who we just caught red-handed need to go. And what that means is they should all be immolated, drowned in freezing urine, crushed in a giant box where then rolls over and over and it just becomes human compote. Well, human, we'll use that term loosely. Flinging them into space, flinging them back down onto Earth, letting them burn up in orbit, or on re-entry. I haven't even got to guillotines. That's so old school and dumb. The spike pit. I like that one, as well as the human trebuchet. I think that if you were to, like, catapult somebody into, like, a spiked wall, just splat, like, point blank range. Like Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Lindsey Graham, Mike Pence, Barack Obama, Mike Obama. Who else? Look at me. I'm not joking. I know this is humorous, but I am not joking. That is what needs to happen.